Okay, so um, today's story is a short moral story, and hopefully, it will offer us a lesson for us to learn from and benefit from. So there were two young boys, and
Claro, 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 así, así, así.
they were exploring the forest. So they were walking together and just spending time looking at the views and everything around them. And these two were the best of friends. They always used to spend time with each other. Whenever they wanted to do something, they would do it together. So they used to play football together. They used to go to school together. They'd go to each other's houses and sometimes they'd stay over. So they were really close friends. And then they were walking through the forest, and out of nowhere, they heard this really loud sound, and they didn't know what it was. And this loud sound was getting closer and closer. And then in the distance, they could see that a bear was running towards them, and it was a massive bear that just looked huge and fearful and intimidating, which is scary. So straight away, one of the boys, he left his friend and he pushed him out the way, and he climbed on top of a tree to get away from the bear. And immediately he could now see that the bear had come right in front of them. And his other friend, who was left behind, he couldn't do anything. And the bear was literally in front of him. So he just lied down on the floor and he just stayed still, not saying anything. And then the friend on top of the tree, he was very secure and he could see that the bear was coming towards his friend. And then it came closer to his friend and came even closer. And then it went right next to his friend and it smelled him a few times. And its eyes went right next to the face of the young boy. So their eyes met, and the bear looked into the eyes of the young boy. And at this moment, the young boy knew that his life was very close to being ended if this bear decided to do something. But the young boy was just safe. He stayed calm and he just started breathing. And then the bear looked at him. He looked up at the tree. He saw the other boy. And then the bear just returned back to where he came from, which was back to his cave. And the bear was gone. It's at this moment, the boy who was on top of the tree, he jumped down and he came to his friend and he said, "Look, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you feeling all right?" And then the boy said, "Yes, yes, I'm all right. Luckily, the bear didn't do anything to me." But it was at that moment the boy who who was on the floor, he learned a valuable lesson. And the lesson he learned that was that this friend who was his friend left him in the time of need. So it was a split second decision. Something happened very quickly, but he saw that even though he had his friend and he spent all the time with his friend let him down in an important moment. So one of the morals of this story is that ultimately we can be very dependent upon people and we can spend time with them and we can value them, our friends, but in any moment the true colors of our friends might show and they might not be able to protect us. And we know that protection only comes from Allah. But we often spend time and effort with a lot of people, and most of the times when it comes to a situation, they can let us down. They can also help us, but in this story, the moral was that ultimately his friend, he cared for his own survival and he left his other friend in a moment of need. And it shows that, people naturally are selfish and they'll only care for themselves in certain situations. So we should be aware of this and take lessons to do the best that we can and to protect ourselves in the best way that we can. So that is today's story, and I hope we can take some benefit from it, inshallah. Thank you for listening.
Jazakumullahu khairan, Mashur. It was a very nice one, and it has a very important lesson for us in our life. If we are careful to
No,
choose
khairan.
friends, then we would be safe. If we choose the wrong one, then we will be in trouble. So it's a
Yes.
very important lesson. Jazakumullahu khairan for sharing. It's a nice story.